Well, hello and good morning. Thank you for tuning in again to What I Need. This is now episode 7. So, let's get on. Let's get on it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the last podcast 6. That episode, I think, was one of my favorites so far. But, yeah, alright. So today, episode 7, what I want to talk about, the key points. I'm trying to make key points because sometimes I just go rambling on and off. But, yeah, let's get started. If you guys could start off by hitting that like button and subscribe button. And if you have any questions for me or topics you'd like me to discuss, leave them in the comments below. Alright, so, episode 7. So the key I want to talk about is facing your fears. Now, facing your fears is obviously what that sentence sounds like. It's scary as shit. Facing your fears is obviously something that's not easy for somebody to do. But eventually, if you want to move on from something or you want to try to get something done, you're going to have to do it. Unless, again, you're just one of those people that's like, fine, whatever, fuck it, who cares? I don't care that I hurt that person's feelings, or I don't care that I did something wrong. It's just me. I don't care. I'm going to let it go. Unless you're one of those types, but I encourage you not to be, especially if you've been listening to my podcast this far. Facing your fears is extremely difficult. Now, I'll remind you that I haven't been on this path, this straight path that I'm on now for too long. I've been on this path now for about 8 months, and I'm still growing and still learning. I've always been on the path and journey to success, but I've always been doing it wrong. I told you guys, if I had followed the path that I was on without letting distractions and dumb shit and my ego and all this stuff interfere, I probably right now would have been a household name, ultra famous, and money like crazy. Most likely that would have happened. I was already there. But I had a giant downfall where I lost everything, burnt down bridges, ruined relationships. I fucked up bad. And I'm sorry for the profanity, but it's true. By the way, I don't look at profanity as like, oh my God, those are bad words. No, I use profanity such as linking words, to amplify the emotion in anything that I'm saying. Yeah, I burned down a lot of bridges, messed up a lot of relationships, because there's a reason I got to that path of my success, because I was living a very fast lifestyle, and I was all about going to get it, didn't care what happened, just needed to get there. Key, I didn't care what happened, I just needed to get there, which was one of my biggest faults. And I lost everything. And it would be extremely easy for me just to blame it on one person, which I want to do, who is my ex, who was just a terrible existence of a human being. But I've learned not to do that, because it is absolutely nobody's fault but your own when you mess up. Now, my life as a kid, I always ran from things and just said, fuck it, I'm going to erase all that. And by doing that, I'm going to just move on to something else, meet a new group of people, move to a different location, yada, 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 that and that and that. But that's not the correct way of doing things, especially when you're trying to be on a straight path. I had a conversation yesterday, and this is getting into facing my fears because I've had to start doing that a lot recently to make up for dumb shit that I've done in the past, to apologize to people that I've wronged, such and such and such. And that's all part of the process of rebuilding and trying to get to where you're going again. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and that was a very difficult conversation because the person that I met with was a very, very good friend of mine's dad and his wife as well. I won't say any names, it's not necessary, but they are from Lithuania, and I always told my friend when I first met him, I didn't even know what a Lithuanian was. I thought that was like a type of metal when you hear Lithuanian. But either way, we became very close, and in fact, his parents helped me out when I think I was about 14 when I first ran away from home. I stayed with his parents when I was 14 for like I think about a month. And his parents knew the reason why, because my dad's household, I wouldn't even say you can't even really say it was my dad's household because my dad had absolutely no control in that damn house. He just let everything fly. They knew all the crazy shit that was going on because I would tell them, not everything, but I would give them a good idea. And me being older now, trying to put myself in their shoes of what to do with this 14-year-old kid that's at my house now with his friend. There's something going on bad over there, so okay. So they let me stay with them for about a month when I was like 14, and I told them I wasn't going back home, no. But eventually I did, and to try to give it another chance, but it didn't work out, and that's when I eventually started getting ready when I was like 15 to say, fuck this, I'm out, and that's when I officially moved out. But his family, his entire family, almost his entire family, was always there for me. They always looked out for me. They always believed in me. And during my crazy journey that I went on, I fucked that up pretty bad. And I had to make up for that. I mean, I wasn't going to just keep moving on and not speak to somebody who was very important to me. Now, at the time, when I was doing all that dumb stuff, it might have looked as if they meant nothing to me because of how I was. I was drunk all the time. I was like, yeah, fuck this, fuck that. Oh, well, that's not my fault. I moved on. See you guys later. And that's really fucked up because his family really, really cared for me. And they believed in me. Yesterday when I went to go see them, I met with his wife first because he wasn't home, and we were sitting down talking, and his wife was a very sweet woman. But I knew I would have to see, as I said, I won't say names. I would have to see my friend's dad, and he came after me and his wife were talking on the couch for maybe about half an hour. And he saw me. He walked in, and big surprise to see me sitting on his couch after all these years and crazy shit that's happened. It's like, wow, this guy just came back from the dead, and now he's in my house. And I greeted him. I said, "Happy birthday." They were surprised that I remembered, which really didn't. My friend told me about it. And we started talking a little bit, and then he got into the real stuff. And I knew that was going to happen, and that's why it was extremely difficult for me to get there. When the second I got on their street to go see them, I almost bailed out. I almost said, "You know what, fuck this. I don't feel like hearing it." But that's the weakness. That's the weakness you got to try to get away from. When you have that thing in your mind, say, "No, I can't do this. Not yet, not yet. Maybe next time, maybe next time." Now, fuck that. It's time now. It's time now. You can't keep putting things aside. So I went there, and as I said, I wronged his family in a lot of ways. Money-wise, disappointing. He even told me I disappointed his whole family because his family believed in me, because when they saw me, they saw the possibility that you can do anything. And unfortunately, that is the truth with me. But every single thing I did, I destroyed at the same time. Skateboarding. I was extremely good at skateboarding. Music. Extremely successful with music. Anything that I did, and he told me this, his family looked up to me in that sense of anything is possible. And I just fucking shit all over it, got drunk nonstop, and just disappeared. And then when his family would approach him and say, "Hey, how is so-and-so?" he would just be like, "Oh, well, let's just change the subject." He told me to my face that they were ashamed to talk about me because it was so disappointing that his family would talk me up and say, "Con is," oh, sorry, I shouldn't even have said my name. This and that is great. Hopefully you guys didn't catch that. But this and that and that and this. And, but when his family would visit, I wouldn't be there. So they would change the subject. And that was very, very hard to hear. And I knew that. And he also told me it's not even about the money. Like, if I were to just go over to him right now and hand him cash plus more, he probably wouldn't even take it, because that's the way he is. He when he was talking to me, he made it seem as if, which most likely was true, that his entire family looked up to me. But one thing that they probably don't know is that I always looked up to them as well, especially his dad, who I was having a conversation with, because my entire life I've been looking and trying to find a family because I never had one. And this was one family that pretty much took me in. And he didn't say it, but I know he wanted to say that he also looked at me as a son as well. And I fucking disappointed the shit out of him. That's why I said if I were to just come up to him and give him cash, he wouldn't even have taken it. If I would have gave him back what I owed plus more, he wouldn't have taken it, because it's not about the money. It's about the money. It's about the fact that he wanted to believe in what he was believing in me to succeed and make everybody proud and be that person like a trophy. And I destroyed that. I firebombed it. Got drunk, walked away, and didn't give a fuck. That is really messed up. But the fact that I can admit that shows me change. Now, when I was talking to him, it was very difficult. He even asked me, he said, was it easy for you coming here? I said, no, hell no, absolutely not. The second I got on the street, as I said, I almost walked away. But the reason why is because these people mean something to me. And I know that I fucked up. I know it bad. But that was one fear that I had to face. Not just for me, but them as well. And the fact that I promised I would do everything in my power to rebuild what was there. And he even told me it could take a long time, because he told me straight up, my words to him mean nothing. It's like 50-50. It's just like, okay, either yes or no. I mean, he has no idea, which I don't blame him. I know how my past was. I told him, he asked me about my drinking. I said, yeah, I'm not drinking anymore. He said, well, I've had some friends growing up and they stopped drinking and then they went back and this and that. I said, yeah, I know. I hear those stories all the time. But I'm not drinking anymore. I'm done with that shit. I am done. He said, as I said, I take your words as 50-50. He said, you say you have 8 months now. I said, yeah, I have 8 months now. He said, okay, that's great. Well, let's try to get to 3 years, and then maybe my mind will start changing. I don't know what it is with, I guess statistically, people that stop drinking have a very high rate of going right back. And then disappoint everyone and then fuck it up for the rest of us. But that is one thing I would just have to prove. That's something only time will tell. For me to prove I'm done drinking. He said, well, I had a friend who said he stopped drinking for a while and then he went back. I said, yeah, I understand that, but I'm done. He said, and do you have dreams of drinking? Do you think about drinking? I said, of course, fuck yeah. There's liquor stores everywhere I go. When I put my daughter down, there's times I think about, yeah, what if I just go and get some Maker's Mark right now? Just one more feel. That's the devil in your head talking. Because I already know where that's going to go. I'm going to get some Maker's Mark, try to drink it casually on the rocks, like a normal drinker. Hell no. I'm going to immediately fall back in love with the devil and just say, this is what I've been missing. And then fuck it up all over again. But I'm not going to do that. So as I told him that, he said, well, I take your words as 50-50. I said, all right, I guess I just have nothing but time to prove. And he also told me about the last time he had seen me. The last time that he saw me, well, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I remember the last time I was there. Which is surprising, because usually I don't remember anything. The last time I went over to his house, I was drunk as shit. And that was in my worst stage. Not only was I drunk as shit, but I had developed something that they didn't know about. I had developed something that they had never seen in me before, which showed. I was in the darkest stage of everything at that time. The stage that they had never seen of me before was not only was I fucking drunk as hell, but I was in a dark suicidal, depressing stage in my life. That is a fact. That is very true. And I remember I walked in there, and then I don't know what the hell I was trying to get accomplished out of it, but I remember I walked in there, and luckily my friend was there with his dad. So, and he knows me enough to know when he sees me, there's something wrong with him. His parents don't really know that. If his parents saw me just walk in and start crying, they would try to comfort me and say, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" My friend knows me better. He immediately saw me and took me right outside. And we talked for a little bit. And then he paid for a hotel up the street for me. And to make him do that is very wrong of me. I mean, my friend I look at as like my brother. And I know he believed in me as well. And to watch somebody you love lose full control of everything and go down that dark, suicidal, depressing stage, and there's nothing you can do about it, must hurt and suck very bad. And that's the truth. And that's why I think this episode is gonna get a lot of attention, because facing your fears says everything in that sentence. Facing your fears is extremely scary. And especially because I think when you start to face your fears, you start to build to a level of maturity to understand what it is that you did wrong and how bad you messed everything up. Because when someone you see and you love them very much, and at one point they made you so proud, and you see them going down this fucked up, dark stage in their life, and they're drinking like crazy, or they're doing whatever, maybe they're doing something different, but in your eyes it's terrible, and you know they're going to crash and fucking burn. I will tell you now, once somebody already hits that stage, and I know because I've been in it, there's not a fucking thing that anybody can do to help that person. I don't care what you've heard from anybody else. I'm telling you firsthand right now. There is not a damn thing anybody can do. Not jail, not cops, not your parents, not your friends, not your loved ones. Nobody. Nobody can help that person go snap out of that stage in their life. And that's very hard to deal with. And my friend's family saw that. And I let them down bad. The only person that can help them get out of that stage in their life is themselves. Because something has to click in their head to say, "I'm tired of this shit, and it ends now." People that say, "I'm tired of this shit, I'm going to start changing," they're not going to change. If somebody says in a sentence, "I'm going to start changing," I'm telling you firsthand right now, guys, they're not going to. If someone tells you, "Yeah, I think it's time to start changing," they're not going to. "I think right now I'm going to start changing." No. Those are the wrong words. They're not going to change. I'm telling you right now. I don't care who it is that's telling you that. They're not going to fucking change. The only person that can change them is them. And they will do it right then. The way that I changed. And I was drunk as shit the time that I said I was going to change. The time that I said I was going to change, I dropped everything, checked myself in a detox and rehab, and boom, I made that decision. That's why I say if someone's like sitting on the couch, yeah, I'm going to start changing, you're right. No, the fuck they're not. No, they are not. You're going to see it in their eyes. You're going to hear the firmness in their voice. And that is what I'm talking about with facing your fears. That was one thing that was extremely difficult for me to do. But I did it. And hearing that from my friend's dad was very hard for me to do. Very hard for me to do. Excuse me. Especially if I want to get back in his family's life, because like another feeling that I got when I was in the house was, I remember this. We used to just sit around the table, drink some beers, have some fun. But that's not possible. They can all enjoy drinks around the table and have fun. I'm going to be sitting there with a monster enjoying the time. But that's just one example that I faced my fears. I talked to him. We got everything that needed to be said. He shook my hand and said, now I will take a shower because I'm dirty. And I said, I see that. You must have had a hard day. So I shook his hand, he jumped in the shower, and then walked away. But when I walked and left the house this time, and on my way back home, I was thinking the entire time that I can't wait to make these people proud of me again and make everything okay, because I will do that, and it'll take everything in my power to make sure it happens, but it will happen. Now, facing your fears could be anything, as I said. This was just the story of that, about facing your fears. If you know you have to do something and it's going to be hard to hear, do it. If you actually love and care for those people. If not, then just say fuck it and continue doing whatever the hell you want to do. But facing your fears, hey, that could also mean like making a purchase or an investment. Anything that you do in your business is a sense of fear because of risk. Maybe it's the last $40 in your account, but you need those business cards, and that leaves you with $5 left over. Face that fear. Buy those cards and start promoting the shit out of it and make that $5 last. For $5, if you eat correctly, I think you can survive off top ramen and water for a good 3 weeks. And within those 3 weeks, if you're promoting the shit out of your business and passing out your business cards, I guarantee you'll get something. That is the truth. But all right, guys. I wish I had more time, but I don't. I hope you got something out of this episode of Facing Your Fears. Well, all right, guys. This is What I Need, episode 7. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.